How's it going there, guys? Dave Nady right here, and today I got another video for you. Now, Harry Potter and the Cursed Child came out on July 31st, which was a couple days ago when I'm recording this. And leading up to that book's release, I have been reading all the Harry Potter books, admittedly for the first time, because I had seen the movies, but that was like 6 years ago, and I can't remember a whole bunch of them. I remember that I enjoyed them, but that's about it. And my friends have been nagging me for a long time, like, you gotta read Harry Potter, what's wrong with you? How have you not read Harry Potter? How are you a human being living in America that has not read Harry Potter? You know, so I was like, okay, fine, I'll read it. It's not that I didn't want to read it, I just kept on putting it off because I'm dumb. Well, I stopped putting it off, and here I'm going to review the first 3 Harry Potter books, because Harry Potter and the Cursed Child has already been released, the play has already, premiered. So I want to get these reviews out of the way fairly quickly so that I can get onto the review for The Cursed Child. So yeah, I'm reviewing Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, or Philosopher's Stone, I'm just going to call it Sorcerer's Stone, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, and Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. I'm not really going to give you the plot of these individual books, and plus I'm going to try not to go too in-depth on each individual book here. But I will summarize, and I will, do my best to make it clear how I feel about them. So yeah, as per usual, I mean, like with 11/22/63 and with Dragon Ball and other things, I kept on putting it off, reading it. And as at those times, I mean, it still stands that I shouldn't have put it off for so long, because these are really great books in so many ways. I mean, they're better than I could have hoped for, really. I mean, let's start with Sorcerer's Stone. Now, this is the shortest book in the series, and, it's not a long book. Like, I mean, the Harry Potter books are remembered as being, like, pretty long books, considering they're more or less basically children's novels. But, yeah, that doesn't apply to the first one, which isn't a negative or anything, but I'm saying it's perfectly paced. I mean, just right off the bat, you instantly care about Harry as a character, you hate what he's going through, and you really want to see him just get out of this life that he's living. And he does, and he, goes off to Hogwarts to learn wizardy stuff, and, yeah, I mean, it just goes on from there. I mean, there's not, like, a lot of action or anything, but the entire book is just so tightly paced and so entertaining and so well written that, I mean, it just completely grips your attention. And really, just the characters in this book are fantastic. I mean, there's not a whole lot I can say in these Harry Potter reviews that hasn't already been said. But still, nonetheless, I mean, just because a lot of people have said that the characters are terrific in these books, I mean, it's true. They really are. I mean, Harry, great protagonist, one of the best protagonists ever in a children's book, I think. Ron, great character, pretty sarcastic, provides great comic relief throughout the book, and very likable. He's kind of protective of Harry, and he's stubborn, and he's kind of hot-headed to an extent, but he's a very good-hearted person. Hermione starts out pretty annoying, then becomes pretty awesome. I mean, she's so likable and obviously really smart. And, she's annoying at first, and I do recall back in the day, like 6 years ago, when I first watched Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, I was like, what the crap, why is this chick so annoying? And then she becomes better, like halfway through the movie, and the same thing is in the book. She's supposed to be annoying for like the first half or so, and then she comes into her own, comes into her own as a great character, partners up with Harry and Ron, and you just have a great trio of really likable people who have great dialogue with each other. I mean, this book is these books are so well written. Really, I mean, they're children's books, and you don't find writing that's this, literate and of this high quality in, like, hardly any other children's books out there. It actually did kind of remind me of Roald Dahl's style of writing, the fact that it's talking about kind of outlandish things. I'm not just talking about magic, like, the way the Dursleys act to Harry Potter. It's totally outlandish and, like, completely unreasonable and very over the top with how just completely douchebaggery they are to him. And it reminded me of like Aunt Sponge and Aunt Spiker in James and the Giant Peach, and just the writing style, just just all throughout, there are moments that just kind of reminded me of like the way Roald Dahl would phrase something. And I love Roald Dahl as a writer, and you know, James and the Giant Peach was always one of my favorite childhood books. So instantly, this style of writing really struck a chord with me, and it's just fantastic. It's very entertaining. It's definitely not dumbed down for kids to understand. You know, it's very clear, but it's something that's, you know, not like an adult's gonna read and be like, oh my gosh, this is like the dog walked over to the ball and brought it back to his master. You know, it's not really simple like writing. It's great writing, plain simple. Awesome writing, great characters, great dialogue. Also, I mean, just, you know, the wizards. I mean, obviously there's Dumbledore. He doesn't appear too much in these first 3 books, but when he does appear, he's just the best. I mean, the guy is so cool, just has such an aura about him. He's so nice and intimidating at the same time. Totally not a guy that you'd want to mess with. Professor McGonagall, I mean, you know, she seems like she'd be really, you know, just a douche at first, but she's like so endearing and such a nice and well-meaning character. Always loved her. Snape, I mean, yeah, great, great character. Not in the book that much, and that's one thing I would like a bit more Snape in these books. That was slightly changed for Prisoner of Azkaban, get more of him in the 3rd one. But yeah, just in the first couple books, I would say there's not quite enough of him. But still, he's great when he shows up. Just such a jerk, but so entertaining. Again, there's not a lot of action, but when there is, it's really well done, you know, with like the cave troll gets loose in Hogwarts in the first book, or, you know, just like the climax, or also just the broom flying sequences are really exciting. And overall, I love Sorcerer's Stone, and the rating that I would give it is an A. As for Chamber of Secrets, now here's the thing. For the first 3 Harry Potter books, they kind of repeat the steps that each other took. Like, just in the same way that, you know, the first 3 Indiana Jones movies, they're amazing movies, but they do kind of copy, you know, the beat-for-beat way that events play out. And this is in that same way with Sorcerer's Stone, Chamber of Secrets, and Prisoner of Azkaban. But just the same way as the Indiana Jones movies. They're not copying each other because they're playing it around in different ways, and so it's still great. And plus in Chamber of Secrets, and in Prisoner of Azkaban especially, just the new heights of character development are just so good, so well done. And you really just like the characters more and more the more that you read about them, and it gets more exciting and more intense as the books go on. I will say, I did just say that despite the fact that they're kind of more or less repeating events in Chamber of Secrets and Prisoner of Azkaban that happened in the first book, they do it really well, but with Chamber of Secrets there are a couple slow sections to where you know, like the sort of slow sections in the first book didn't bother me, but here, like, it's slow sections again in a fairly similar plot to the first book, and it's starting to kind of wear on my patience a little bit, but only briefly. It's more suspenseful and dark than the first book, but I would say that I do think the first book is slightly better than Chamber of Secrets. Anyways, but Prisoner of Azkaban is probably my favorite out of the first 3. Now, despite the fact that the first 3 kind of copy each other, it's Prisoner of Azkaban that really starts the ball rolling for the overarching story of the series, and just, to me, this feels like the one to where it's like, okay, crap's getting real, now we're getting serious, and it's a good bit more serious than the first 2 books. It's still fun and enjoyable, incredibly well written. Just the world building is fantastic. You love learning about all these different, you know, tricks and just magical things that they can do. You know, the broomstick flying is great. Just everything, just their potions and all the characters and the creatures and the way the paintings and portraits in Hogwarts are alive and the way the school moves around. And Hagrid! Oh, I forgot to talk about Hagrid. Hagrid for a second. Yeah, just, I mean, I said McGonagall is, you know, an endearing character at heart. I mean, much more so for Hagrid. The guy's just so nice and lovable, and you just want to just reach into the book and give the guy a hug. I mean, he's just so cool and likable and nice and awesome. And that's, you know, again, you gotta move on from that. But basically, Prisoner of Azkaban, it's just darker, and it's creepy. It's legitimately, like, actually a little scary at times with Sirius Black, you know, the fact that he's coming after Harry Potter. And the plot really, like, for the last 100 pages, the plot really gets rolling, especially in the last 50 pages where a new element is introduced, and it took me off guard because I haven't seen the movies in a long time, so I can't remember anything of them, so it's like experiencing the stories for the first time. Although technically I am anyway, because it's the first time I've read the books, but basically, just so well done. Prisoner of Azkaban is just so exciting. It's the creepiest book out of the first three. The character development is really taken to new heights in this one. You really love the characters and understand them. There's more of Snape, which is really done well. Sirius Black is very compelling and very interesting, even though he's not in the book very much until like the last 100 pages or so. And the new characters are great, and it's just really incredibly well done. I love all three of these books. I'm not really going in depth here because I am trying to summarize. That's why I'm not going into spoiler territory, because otherwise I would want to make a spoiler review. But still, just the point is, I love these books and they're totally worth reading. The first book I give an A, the second book I give an A-, and honestly, Prisoner of Azkaban gets an A+ for me. These books really are that good. And I'm totally not just saying that, they're that good. So anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and please look forward to other Harry Potter reviews leading up to Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. And also I'm going to do some Enter Viral reviews still. Goodbye.